It all seemed perfect when I found an apartment on the top floor of an old building. It was cheap, cozy, and had an incredible view, but I had no idea what was waiting for me. On the very first night, I realized there was something seriously wrong with that place. As I was getting ready to sleep, I heard footsteps coming from the floor above. The problem is, there was no floor above. My apartment was on the top floor. The footsteps sounded like someone running. I tried to ignore it, convincing myself it was just the usual noises of an old building, creaking wood, old pipes, things like that. But as the days passed, the sound got louder. Now, it sounded like someone was dragging something heavy, and sometimes I could hear muffled whispers, words I couldn't understand, but they made my skin crawl. Terrified, I went to talk to the building's janitor, asking if there was some kind of construction happening upstairs. He looked at me, completely confused, and said, "There's nothing above your apartment. No one lives there." That night, I couldn't sleep. The noises got even worse. It felt like they were coming from every direction. I lay in bed, trying my best to ignore it, but at some point, fear and curiosity took over. I grabbed a broom and hit the ceiling hard, and instantly, everything went silent. For a few seconds, nothing. Total silence. But suddenly, tock, 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 3 loud, quick knocks right above me, as if someone was answering me. In that moment, I felt something strange, like something was trying to communicate with me from somewhere far, yet way too close. I hid under my blanket, praying it was all just my imagination. Maybe it was stress, exhaustion, anything but real, but the worst was yet to come. The next night, around midnight, I was lying in bed, scrolling on my phone, when something on the ceiling caught my attention. I looked up, and there was a hole, and through that hole, 2 eyes, 2 dark, piercing eyes staring right at me. They didn't blink. They didn't move. They just watched me like they were waiting for something. In that moment, I completely froze. The fear paralyzed me. Those eyes were small, but the expression they had is something I will never forget. Panic took over. I screamed, and without thinking, I ran. I ran out of that apartment. The next day, I made a decision. I was leaving. There was no way I was staying in that place any longer. But before I left, I took one last look at the ceiling. The hole was gone, completely gone, as if it had never existed. I slammed the door shut and left behind a mystery that maybe will never have an answer. Taking care of an abandoned train station seemed like an easy job until I realized I wasn't alone there. The station hadn't seen passengers in decades. The only sound was the wind blowing through the rusty tracks. My shift started at midnight and lasted until dawn, just enough time to monitor the place and make sure no vandals broke in. But as the days passed, something strange started to happen. The first time it happened, I thought I was just imagining things. A little after 2 a.m., as I walked along the main platform, I heard the distant sound of a train approaching, the rumble of an engine and a muffled whistle echoing through the night. I looked at the tracks, overgrown with weeds and rusted beyond use, completely sure that nothing had passed through there in years. But the sound grew louder and closer. I froze. A thin mist started to roll over the platform, and before I could even react, a train appeared. Out of nowhere, it was an old model with dusty windows. It slowed down and came to a stop right in front of me. Panic held me in place. One of the doors slid open with a screech that echoed deep into my bones. And then I saw the passengers. Shadows, pale figures sitting perfectly still inside the train. Their faces had no clear features, just dark, hollow eyes staring straight at me. I stepped back. That was all it took for the doors to slam shut. The train whistled and slowly started moving again until it vanished into the darkness. In the following days, I tried convincing myself it was just a dream, a trick of exhaustion. But it happened again and again, always at the same time, always the same way. The train would arrive, stop at the empty platform, and then disappear. And I would just stand there, unable to understand. One night, I decided to record everything with my phone, but when I watched the footage, my hands nearly dropped the phone. The platform was empty. No train, no passengers, just me, standing there, frozen in fear, staring at nothing. That's when it hit me. Maybe that train wasn't just passing by. Maybe it was waiting for someone. And in that silent, forgotten station, I was the only one there.